didn't see you there. How did you get into my hotel room? Well, after a long and hard day of being correct on the internet about movies, I'd like nothing more to just sit down, drinking this bottle of rather underwhelming champagne and just, talking about movies. And I'll bet you want to know what I think about next year's batch of movies. I sure think you will. Well, whether or not you think I should talk about that, and whether or not this movie, or this video I should say, would come out in, well, let's say February, considering all the problems I've had, well, you're gonna watch it anyway, at least 2 or 3 of you. Well, over to me in Vilnius, Lithuania, talking about next year's batch of great movies, or at least supposedly great movies. Well, thanks a lot, me from the hotel room. Yeah, so this is the 1st of January and we are looking forward to the year 2020 in a movie perspective. And when I started to come up with this list, I did run into a snag really fast. I just realized that I don't really have that much movies to work with. Usually when I do these lists, I come up with 10, maybe even 15 movies that I consider, wow, I'm really looking forward to this one. But not this time. This time, I just found that, well, this movie, I have to put this on this list or I will not reach 15, which is not my normal number. I had to work around it a little bit and moved, bits and pieces here and there, but these 15 movies are good, yes, but they're not on the level it used to be, and it makes me a little sad, but maybe I'm wrong. 2016, I thought there's nothing really worth going on this year. It ended up being one of the best years ever, so here's the positive reaction to this one. Number 15, The Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife. The Hitman's Bodyguard was a very unexpected low-key hit. It was a pretty lackluster story and it was a pretty dumb movie, but by God, was it correctly casted. Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson was perfectly casted to elevate that movie into something really, really great. I suppose this movie will focus on Salma Hayek, the wife of Samuel L. Jackson. I guess she's in trouble somehow and we're gonna follow that one, but I honestly think this might work. I think this might be a really fun movie and I think this is gonna be, yeah, top notch. Also, it's gonna be nice to see if Salma Hayek, despite pushing 50, is still so fucking hot, because I mean, she looked fucking awesome in the Hitman's Bodyguard. How is that even possible? Number 14, Without Remorse. I didn't even know this movie was in the works until a few weeks ago. Without Remorse is the chronologically first book in the Tom Clancy's long book series, where we get to spend time with John Clark before he became John Clark. I think that's going to be really interesting to see. Tom Clancy's books usually becomes pretty good movies, even though they have to chop away huge chunks of it to make it work. Sometimes it has become absolutely stonking good movies, like Clear and Present Danger. Sometimes it has become, yeah, so and so, but still good. And I think this might be a really good one. Number 13, The Fast and Furious 9. The only way they're going to be able to top the previous movies is if they're going out into outer space officially this time. I want Tyrese Gibson and the other ones, and John Cena and some other people, to go up into outer space for this one. it would be bonkers. To tell you the truth, I'm actually more interested in a second take on the Hobbs and Shaw movies, because I think they have all the best, you know, functioning parts in that movie. But I'm still looking forward to 2 hours plus of absolute car nonsense. Number 12, Infinity. Now, I like Antoine Fuqua and I really like Mark Wahlberg, and this movie that seems to be a bit of a time-traveling science fiction kind of a thing, where he experienced that he has, you know, lives in the past. Seems like an interesting intrigue. I have no idea if this movie is going to function. I have no idea what's going to be about. I haven't seen anything, but I'm still more intrigued by this than a lot of more high-profile movies that will not appear on this list. So, Infinity, for what it's worth. Or as Stratovaris would say, Infinity! Number 11, Bloodshot. Bloodshot is an odd little thing. It's an action movie starring Vin Diesel. And when I saw it, the trailer accidentally or on purpose spoiled one of the major plot twists of this movie, which made me a little bit annoyed, but it also made me very interesting to see the movie. I was actually... So this is kind of a chicken and the egg kind of a situation. Was I going to be interested in this movie if I hadn't seen the twist in the trailer? If yes, was it good to reveal the twist or not? I don't really know, but I think that this movie might be, in case they do the things right with this one, it might be a really fun movie, or it just might be I'm having actually a bit of a fascinated approach to this one. It might be one of these surprisingly awesome movies that I didn't know was going to come out. Number 10, Wonder Woman 1984. Wonder Woman was a really good movie. It wasn't a masterpiece, it wasn't the be-all end-all of the DC cinematic universe, but I liked it. It was very impressive and it had a lot of moments that was amazing. It did have a very poorly executed third act, which dragged the movie down with it. And I remain as the dumb, ever hopeful optimist that I am. I just hope that they can make this movie work. If they do, if they are able, if they're able to do a movie that is throughout as good as the first 2/3 of the original Wonder Woman is, they have a surefire hit on their hands. Otherwise, I will say that this will probably be as good as the last Wonder Woman 1984 or not. I just hope that they have a really, really, really good reason for why Wonder Woman couldn't give two tosses about World War II. Number 9, A Quiet Place 2. A Quiet Place is one of the greatest horror movies I've seen in recent years. It was an absolute... It was great. I loved how small details was just so well woven into the story, and how well it was made, and how tense this movie was. It was an almost perfect movie, except for the, you know, very dumb decision made by the characters. And I know that they want to replace, you know, something. If you haven't seen that movie, I still think that's kind of dumb. I didn't think that a sequel could be made to this one, but they've done it, and I'm actually quite intrigued for it, because when the movie that came out, the first movie, was more of a horror movie, this seems to be more of a disaster survivalist type of movie. I like that type of movie. It might or might not really, really function, and it might be one of these absolutely great movies. It will fall into one of these two categories. It will be either they've taken the idea and they have elevated it, or they have taken the idea and they face planted with it. It's not going to be somewhere in between. It's going It's gonna be one or the other, and I'm hoping for the one. Number 8, Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey, I don't really know that much about the idea for this movie. It's a bunch of DC female characters that may or may not be heroes, may or may not be villains, or may not be well, anything interesting. But it's always nice to see Harley Quinn in some form of capacity. I think if this movie is rated R, I think it's gonna work. If it's rated PG-13, it's gonna be slightly not that great, but it's still gonna be a pretty good movie. But since the success of Deadpool, I think that especially DC, I think, can afford to make these big budget R-rated movies, and I think people will see them. If it's R-rated, I don't know at this point right now, but it seems funny. It can be really fun, or it just might be a bit obnoxious and a bit shoulder shrugging to it. But nevertheless, I think this one can be a sleeper hit, or it may not. I don't know, but I'm really hopeful for this one. Number 7, The Gentleman. So Guy Ritchie appears to be returning to his old glory days as a writer of crime comedies, British ones, with lots of swear words and lots of weird characters. I am very excited for this one, and I hope just this one is a new Snatch and not a new Rock'n'Rolla, because by God was Rock'n'Rolla a terrible movie. Even though it gave us Handsome Bob, which was undoubtedly great. But this one has another very handsome fellow, Matthew McConaughey, and he just is at this stage of his career where he can elevate from being a pretty face to also a really great character. And I think this one is gonna knock it out of the park. I really hope so. I have lots of confidence in this one. Jesus Christ. Please, Guy Ritchie, please don't make me wrong about this one. Number 6, Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, many people hated Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. I don't know why. I think it was great. Many people disliked Kong Skull Island, while some liked it. I think it was also great. Now, combining them together might make a creature feature or monster movie that will be either really awesome or just a little bit wonky. I don't know. I'm not actually that interested in seeing them fighting each other, because I think we all know that they're not going to end up, killing one or the other. They're gonna team up to fight something else, and the sooner they do that, the better. I still think that this, because of how much I loved Godzilla King of the Monsters, I think this one is gonna be an absolute stonker. I really hope that. Number 5, No Time to Die. Now we're getting finally we're getting into movies that I am truly excited about. Despite the fact that every time a new Bond movie comes out, I get terribly excited. I go to see it, I think it's great, then I watch it again, and then I think it is not quite as good as I remembered it. I don't know if that's something I should be concerned about, but nevertheless, I hope this one is going to be an absolutely amazing James Bond film. I'm always hopeful. For me personally, I think Daniel Craig should have quitted after Spectre. Now he's not going to do it, but apparently they're running with it and tries to make this a thing of the movie. I hope they do, but I'm not sure. But it will probably deliver the high quality direction and action that the previous James Bonds have done, and as the dumb optimist that I am, I hope this one will be the best one of the Craig Bond films. Number 4, The Kingsman. This one seems to have been pushed back a little bit. It was supposed to come last year, but it comes 2020. Kingsman: The Secret Service was fantastic. It's one of my favorite movies of 2014. It was fantastic. It was splendid. I think that the sequel was almost as good, although it was lumbering with some minor problems. Girlfriend problems and amnesia problems. Ugh, god damn it. Anyway, I think that this movie is gonna be great, mostly because this is a prequel, but it is so far behind the current movies because it's almost 100 years before they take place. So it's not going to be an issue with they have to fit this through the prequel hole, which is a thing I really am annoyed by. I think this one is going to be awesome. I think it has the action swag that will make it an absolutely classic. I think it has the World War I flavor that will make it a compelling period piece, and I think it has enough good actors attached to it that it will make for the greatest World War I movie that has been made forever. Well, maybe except one. Number 3, 1917. This movie has not yet come out in Sweden, so I'm counting this one as my most anticipated movies for the year 2020. Deal with it, motherfuckers! Anyway, I love World War I as a concept for movies because it has so much fantastic storytelling to give us, but they still keep handing out all these World War II movies, but even though they have slowed it down over the last decade, but now I'm going off the rails. I think Sam Mendes' sort of one-shot World War I movie will be one of the greatest things we will see this year. I think it's a strong Oscar contender, and I think it's, when all said and done, it will be a memory for the ages. Come on, give me that World War I epic I know you're capable of. Judging by how good it has been going on with IMDb, it's probably going to be one of the. It's probably going to be as good as I think it is. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. I'm gonna have to wait 4 weeks for it. Jesus fucking Christ. Number 2, June. Now, this movie would have been far lower on the list unless it would have been attached to one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve is an absolute genius. Everything he has undertaken has been great. Arrival, fucking great. Blade Runner 2049, he actually made a movie that was better. That was better than the original. Sicario, absolutely great. Prisoners, feel-bad film in its best form, and now he's going to undertake one of my favorite books of all time. I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, right? I don't know how he's going to do everything yet, and I don't know how close it's going to follow the book, but it will be interesting to see, and I really hoping he lands this one, because I think if anybody's going to pull off June, that is this man. And number 1, Tenet. I knew at least 9 months ago that this one was going to top the most anticipated movies of 2020, because this is a Christopher Nolan movie, and that is something I always get terribly excited about. I love the trailer that has come out. I've only watched it once, and I just have this view that this is gonna be something like if Deception and Deja Vu had a baby of some kind. That it looks very interesting. It might be, amazing, or it just might be so and so. But I think this one's going to be absolutely great, because Christopher Nolan has yet to deliver a bad movie. He has done movies that are not masterpieces. Like, I didn't love Dunkirk. I thought Insomnia wasn't absolutely fantastic. It was both very good movies, extremely good movies. But he's not immune to make movies that aren't fantastic. But he has always made movies that feel special, and he's always made movies that feel like something else, like something that is a little bit beyond what your normal filmmaker makes, and he's almost alone in doing this today, and he's giving all this money for an original script. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Go Nolan, go! That's it for this little list of movies coming up 2020. Let's see how wrong I was at the end of 2020, hopefully. This is the Kingsmen signing out.